Add guest. Hey man, that's so. I didn't even know. I didn't even know.
Yeah, it
It's
was
like,
crazy. So it was about maybe about a week ago, and I just put up a bunch of like three in a row Obama videos about spying and Holder. You know me, I just dig up old videos, and people don't like that. And then, but bam, I'm gone, like no warning, like nothing. But see, thanks for taking my call. But that's so funny. So this time around, so if anybody doesn't know, this was like
Mike.
my fourth or fifth time on Twitter.
Yeah,
The first couple times, I had a good following, whatever, but I was a troublemaker here and
yeah,
there, and I would be abrasive. And in September, I called a bunch of cute people retards, and they mass
yeah.
reported me, and I got booted because it was my last time. Fair enough. I mean, I think they wanted a reason to get rid of me anyway because calling somebody retard ain't that bad. So I took months off.
Yeah.
And I started back with a VPN. I said, I'm not paying for this. If they get me, they get me. But they
Right.
didn't. So I came back with a pretty small account. And I was just minding my own business. And, I still dug and I still found stuff and I didn't
Yep.
cause no trouble. Everyone, if somebody would attack me, I'd say, your input means a lot to us. Have a great day.
Right.
Sarcastic,
Right.
right? And I'm like, this is such BS. So I contacted them and they wouldn't get back to me for a week. And finally, a week later, they returned my email and they says you were removed because you were running multiple accounts to harass and abuse people. Lies, lies.
This
They
is
made it
this
up.
is but this is what gets people, like, people, Loomer and Alex Jones or whatever get, the attention. Oh, those people are banned. But what people don't realize is that there's a lot of smaller accounts that also get banned, that for stupid, stuff that affects people, and no one even knows is the wiser. Like, I didn't even know that you were banned for like 2 weeks,
No,
and
it's
it's like
fair. I
they're
mean, listen, I had a small footprint this time, but on the other side of this, my last account, I think I topped out at like 400 and some odd,
yeah,
followers, whatever, and I liked it. I didn't want to be whatever. I still reached like 5 million, 6 million people one week because a couple of nice people did some
right.
heavy lifting for me, and
Well,
but people
didn't you
shouldn't say
didn't
that
you
small
find
accounts don't matter.
didn't you find the Halper contract? Like
Yeah,
the
listen, I found the Halper contract. I scooped a lot of stuff. Listen, people don't
dude,
know this.
people
Thanks for
still
taking
don't
this.
people still don't talk about that enough. It's like that's a huge deal.
You want to
That
know another huge deal?
What's
That
up?
to this day somebody else found it. See, and I don't care about this. Everything I find is open source, which means anybody else can find it too.
Yeah,
But the thing about Twitter is, if I find it and it's open source, you could just go say you found it, you know. And I
yeah.
didn't tip you, which is fine. I don't care. But you know what? The the translator for now it's Fascia, Natalie, the
Yeah.
Trump Tower lady.
Hmm.
Okay, I found his contracts too. He is a spy. He was probably
Yeah.
wearing a wire. I have his purchase orders. He found
Wait,
his
who
yes.
is he paid by the U.S. government?
Yeah. He had the same the name of the website is called GovTribe,
Uh huh.
and that's where I found
Yeah.
Halper's purchase order,
Hmm.
and this other guy I forgot his name, whatever
Yeah.
Samarayev, whatever, one of them goofy names. I don't care.
Right.
But
Right.
I said, I wonder if this guy was a spy, and it turns out that yes, he was on our payroll, and the guy who was the translator at Trump Tower, he bought a business 2 miles from Trump Tower a month before the meeting.
See, no one even talks about it. That's a
And
huge deal, and no one even talks about it.
there's too much stuff going. But people see what I'm doing, and they're
Yeah.
like, we don't like this guy.
It's so lame, dude.
You got. I'm glad. Hey, did you have like a family, like some good news recently? Did you have a baby or something?
Yeah, well, I did have a baby, and this is my son Emerson. Do you want to say hi? Okay, he
What's
doesn't
up,
want
buddy? Well,
Anyway,
congratulate. Right before I got kicked off, I saw that you had like a baby or something. Congratulations! I saw that you're a real person. You have a real face, which is great. Glad to
that,
see you, and
that
this is great.
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
glad you did this.
it's like the thing, like, with privacy stuff. It's like I almost feel like privacy doesn't exist. It's like if people do all this work to try to keep their identity secret, but it's like if someone
Yeah,
really wanted to figure it out, it's like they can look me up on LinkedIn or whatever, and it's like there
yeah.
I am. I mean, I kind of see it as pointless. I mean, maybe I'm too nonchalant about this, but it's like there's really no privacy anymore. So what's the point?
Yeah,
But
I see people say that, like, I'm not going to get the Echo Dot Alexa. And I'm like, you walk around with a camera and a microphone in your pocket all day.
right. Yep.
If somebody wants to listen, they'll listen.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you doing these days? Are you gonna try to
I'm
like
done.
pick up on a different platform or anything? Or?
No, I'm on. Listen, my time is done. You know, the censoring is real. Like
Yeah.
something really big has to happen before I come back to any platform, because it's just horrible that they like openly lie. They just made up a story like I'm a nobody, but I'm not really a nobody.
Well,
But
but
I'm
that
like, and they say,
it's
oh, you were
nothing.
running multiple accounts.
Do you think someone reported you, or do you think it was
Oh,
just
for
like,
sure. Oh,
yeah,
for sure. I've
okay,
made enemies. For sure.
yeah,
For sure. Somebody reported me. Yeah, we know this guy. He got kicked off before. Let's get rid of him. Fuck it. I don't
yeah.
care.
But so if someone reports. So what happens here is someone reports you, and then they do like absolutely no research in
Nope.
terms of deciding whether it's just or not. They just say this guy was reported and done. You know what I mean? It's like there's no like recourse. There's no anything. Okay, let me see if I can get Fool Nelson on here. Maybe I can have multiple people. Hey, can you hear me? Oh wait, three, two, one.
Hey, Nick, what's up?
Hey, what? This is like a party now. What the heck?
Yeah,
Hey,
you got to have
Mike,
a
this is
Spygate
Fool Nelson.
roundtable.
This is another person from Twitter that is interested in Spygate and going back and
A little
forth.
bit, a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm a
This
real
is good.
person too.
it's like
I just don't always have a face.
right, right. Yeah,
You know,
yes.
I think we've all
Yes.
put a lot into this, and
Oh, totally.
you're really really smart. I'm smart, and I didn't know I was smart until kind of recently. But like, there's a lot of smart people out there that are doing really great work,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it's just a shame. I mean, I feel kind of good that I was booted because I'm a threat. Like, if I'm a
Right,
nobody, who cares, right?
right, right. No, absolutely. I mean, it's like in some ways it's a patriotic thing where it's like we love our country and we want the right thing to happen in the end. So it's like no one else is going to do the work, and so it's like someone's got to at least try to move it in the right direction, and then hopefully gets the right thing happens. But
That's why I came out on Twitter, because I was like just following everybody. Then I'm like, all right, this is like this is getting ridiculous. I'm gonna have to start
yeah,
posting more and getting into this stuff because it's absurd.
I mean,
And like
it was touch and
I
go
have
there
like a
for a
bunch of
bit,
like
Yeah,
yeah, and I have like a bunch of FBI contacts, and they don't do anything. So I'm just like, I'm gonna put out what they say and stuff. So
right.
People
No,
see. You know what's weird? I don't know if anybody's ever talked about this, but and I've said this a couple times. Just because nobody says something to you doesn't mean they're not watching you. And there's people that Nick. There's people that watch you intently. There's people that watched me, and there's people that get our information. They just don't say anything about it. Like, they know. Like, when I found the Halper POs, people in mainstream knew, but they're not gonna. They have this weird code about they have to vet information. Like, they have to allow information out when they're allowed to put it out.
hmm
But there's people in the media that follow all of us, but they don't technically follow us. They just bookmark us and pop in once in a while.
right.
They do it all the
Well,
time, and,
yeah,
and they
because
know the information.
everyone's so connected. The people like I understand people in the Beltway that don't want to get into this whole thing because they have entrenched interest. Like they don't want to ruin the next contract that they're going to get, or they don't want to mess with friends or whatever. Like I get that. Like someone like me has zero contacts, like zero connections to Washington D.C. So it's like for me, if I find something, it's completely open source. So I have no like, there's nothing wrong with me doing that. But I understand, someone that would, not wanting to expose that. Hey,
like
dude.
you can tell, like like Solomon is clearly like on a schedule. Like when he gets like somebody
Right,
has to approve for whatever he's releasing. Like he's like the official channel sort of. But I mean, other people should come out with that stuff. I mean, he should anyways. But
right,
like if you follow like Lee Stranahan, like he's been coming up with that stuff for a long time, and
yeah,
he complains about it that he had the scoops for a long time. But if he's been releasing it forever, and it doesn't gain any traction because it doesn't come out at the right time. Which I mean,
right,
obviously that he's on the sort of like Solomon's on the hey, this is the time to release it because they're kind of monitoring the narrative and whatnot and when's good. Lee's like complaining because he reported on it a long time ago, but it was at the wrong time. To be honest, it was at the wrong time, but it's still
yeah,
good to have people like that.
yeah, and Jeff too. Jeff, the markets work.
Yeah, yeah,
He's been doing that too, where it's like he said like I've done this like a long
yeah. He
time
does the
ago, and
same
it
thing
was
as Lee, right? Yeah.
yeah, So what do you think
I
about
also
20? Go ahead, Mike.
I also think that there this is also a business for everybody. Like everybody's making a lot of
Right.
money on this whole past 2 years. Like it's a great business, and people like
I'm not making anything.
let's go to like Hannity. Like they make money
Right.
on the controversy. Like remember him with the TikTok and Rosenstein's
Yeah.
bad, blah blah blah. So you always have to like kind of parse out what is somebody saying to make money, because if you got like a verified blue check or whatever, this is your livelihood. Like this is how you make
Right.
your money, by talking about things, and you don't want this to end. So it's in the best interest for everybody for this to get stretched out. So I can remember when everybody was mad at Jeff, and we should have been, because he was a dope, because he would have never ever done what Bill Barr. Imagine Jeff Sessions in that chair the
Oh,
other day. He
totally.
would have
Yeah.
folded.
He would have been destroyed.
He would have been over. But anyway,
I was trying to think back. Like, did he do any hearings like over his 2 years? Like,
He
I
did
honestly don't even
one.
no, he
remember.
should have
I
never
think
been
he
there.
did one.
He
Okay.
wasn't. I
Yeah.
don't think he was deep state, but he should have never been there. But
Yeah.
look at how long this has taken. Look at Trump is going to release a bunch of stuff real soon. Okay, this has been dragged. Remember, I don't know if people remember this, but I remember all these really weird little things he said on the campaign trail. He'd lock her up. He's like, well, it
Yeah.
might take a couple of years. It really is going to take a couple of years. I've been patient for this whole thing, and I
Well,
think
see,
by the end of the year we'll see a lot.
that's what I'm saying. So this is starting to get wrapped up in 2020 now. It's like this
Yeah.
is he has made it very clear that this is an issue that is going to be, I don't know about central part of his campaign, but it's going to be a big part where this is about not kneecapping his opponents. And so
Yes.
that could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing in that now it's on now, like you're saying, it's on a schedule. You know what I mean? They have this planned out
Yeah.
of how for maximum effectiveness of hitting people like Joe Biden and like a lot of other people. Like whoever's
The
connected
entire
to Obama.
Democratic Party, honestly.
Really, the only one like maybe Beto's okay. Like he has no real connection to the swamp really. I don't know. Like there's a couple, or like
Mhm.
Tulsi or whatever, but it's like a lot of those people have connections where they're now he can use it as a weapon against them.
I
And
don't think he has to really. I think honestly, I think his win is a landslide, a foregone conclusion.
yeah,
And they're just being kooky. Like it's really like I have to stop and say I don't want this to be normalized about how kooky they're acting. Like there's really serious mental derangement. There's really bad mental stuff going on here that they really think that like it's just kooky. It's really bad. He's gonna
yeah,
win no matter what.
Yeah,
He's gonna win no
I
matter
feel
what.
like okay, like if the Spygate thing has to come out, and it's not on
yeah.
Trump anymore, like it was before. It's on Barr now,
Mm-hmm.
and regardless of what happens in 2020, it has to come out now. It can't be pushed back or anything like that. And I mean, like you were saying, Mike, I've seen this as more like a mental health crisis than anything. Like there's been so many lies told, and people's like brains have been shattered. The truth has to come out now. Like it's not interference in the election. If people take the truth and then they vote against the truth, then that's fine. It's whatever. Like it's nothing on me, but it has to come out now. I don't think you can wait.
Yeah,
If you bring forward the truth about Spygate and people decide to turn away from the truth, that's fine with me. That's on the mental state of the American people, which is ridiculous if that's what happens. It should be a positive if you bring forth the truth. And if people shy away from it and they want more of the corruption and whatnot, and they vote for it, that's fine with me. But it has to
yeah.
come out now. That's my opinion. But
It seems like everything's on hold right now until the IG report, and then
yeah,
then we go to the next thing. That seems like what everyone's holding their breath for right now. And like I've said before, I don't think that's going to be the be all end all. Okay, we lost Full Nelson, but I don't think that's going to be the be all end all. But it is going to have a lot of facts in there that we can then move on to the next step. And
Some,
so yeah.
Something I want to touch on now that I've been off and on the Twitter here and there
Yeah.
is I could still like my page isn't really technically gone, so I emailed them. I've been pulling that I'm going to sue you.
You're talking about your Twitter page.
Yeah, Twitter page. It's
Okay.
not really like I can go in. It says it's suspended. Usually by now all my information's gone,
Uh-huh.
but I keep emailing them, telling them like just regular bullshit stuff. I'm going to sue you at Supreme Court. You blah blah blah. But technically, I said to him, I go, listen, I screenshot every one of my tweets, and I want you to prove to me that I was running two accounts, whatever, blah, blah. But I got to really tell you this. The universe outside of Twitter is not the same. The most average American doesn't talk about what we talk about.
Right.
and they don't care. And the hardcore people that are denying it right now are pretty much Beltway people and people on Twitter. But even if the IG report comes out saying how like really points to the truth, they didn't accept this truth. Like, does anybody think somewhere down the line they're all of a sudden these lunatics out there, which it's not really a large amount of people, but they are.
Yeah.
Like these lunatic Democrats, do you think all of a sudden they're going to say, "Oh my God, you're right, you got us. Oh boy, you got us." No, because what they're doing now is they're setting up Barr because they know he's coming after him. So they're setting up now to say, "Look, how could you believe this guy? This guy's
Yeah.
a bad."
Yeah. No, totally. Hey, fool. I just looked at the guests. Oh yeah, what's that? Oh, what is that?
It's our mosquito bracelet.
Oh, mosquito bracelet. Awesome. Hey, yeah. So I looked at the guest, and you were there a second ago, but I don't see you anymore. So I don't know. I could probably get you back on, but if you like try to join or whatever. But anyway, I don't see a way to get you on here right now. So anyway, oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. I think a 5, 4, 3. Okay. Hey, we're figuring. This is the first time I've even tried to do this call thing. But hey, so Mike, I think you're on here now. So hey,
Yeah,
Mike,
I'm on.
I shared this on Twitter, so I'm hoping people see, um, that you're gone. Like no one even knew that you were gone. So hopefully at least they,
Yeah.
realize now that you're gone, and then I mean, they can follow you on Periscope, I guess, and
I'll
you know,
start this up again. You know what? Now, I mean, really, right when I saw this ding, 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 I almost deleted this app. I'm like, well, I'm not on it anymore. And all of a sudden, I saw your name. I'm like, yes, I'm back, baby.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I
But
said, I had no idea, and so anyway, so I guess so your Twitter's not there anymore, but we'll just I'm gonna follow you on Periscope, with
I have
however
a YouTube channel.
it's.
I got.
Oh, you have
Wow,
YouTube, okay.
I have a YouTube. I don't know how to. I'll put it. I'll put a link on maybe on my Periscope. I think if I can put a link on my Periscope, I will.
Okay.
I've been getting creative with my YouTube
Yeah,
videos.
it's like we had to like go through all these measures to like
It's
reconvene.
ridiculous.
It's like it's crazy. It's like you have to figure out like how to hide or whatever. I don't know.
I learned so much from you, by the way, Nick. I want to tell you this before, is that like there's like all of us that are out there, and I don't have to do a whole list, but everybody
Yeah.
seems to have like their own little kind of like niche kind of thing. Like, Rosie's got her niche, and
Right.
and Jeff got her niche, and Chill, and like everybody, like nobody really does the same exact thing about
Right.
what they look at.
Right.
And like I always refer to you and a couple other people as the detail guys. Like,
Yeah.
like you guys get all these great details. It's just over my head. Like I'm a big picture kind of guy, and I just love it. I love it. I've never been more
Right. I
excited
just
about
throw everybody
investigating.
towards that your way.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's like, and everyone. It's funny because everyone has different, like passions, kind of in terms of which storyline. Because there's like a million different storylines to like follow as part of this whole thing, and so like
Yeah.
I hate the Manafort storyline. Like I just don't like the guy at all. Like I
Yeah,
don't
it's a throwaway.
defend him at
I'm
all.
uninterested.
I really like Flynn, and some of these other, like I'm interested in the Peter W. Smith thing. But yeah, it's like everyone's kind of got their thing that they're interested in, but.
Yeah,
The
My
Peter
my
Smith
gig has
thing
always
is
been
interesting. I don't know how to
the
approach it.
Rosenstein.
Oh yeah.
Rosenstein's always been that story about Rosenstein, and I'm one of the few. And listen, like I'm one of the few, but I always thought that he really is a really good guy, and every
Yeah.
day he turns out to be more of a good guy. And now I can finally say this, like with my voice and not type the words, is that his deal was he was the mole, and when he signed that last FISA, he didn't sign the FISA as a criminal. He signed the FISA as a witness. He
It
signed
had
that last
something.
FISA, and he's like, I got him.
Well, he
I
didn't.
got
He
you.
had
I
no
got
idea.
you. Boom.
What's that?
He
Fool?
had no idea, anyways. Like, I mean, if they present that as, I mean, he just got into the DOJ, and at that point, he has no idea what's going on. If the FBI is saying this is legitimate intel, and then they're swearing to it under the possible consequence of perjury, then Rosenstein didn't have a choice, to be honest.
Well, yeah,
but I mean, at the
and day one,
yeah, you can
like
go.
he gets into office, whatever, like April 27th or something like that, or whatever. Day one, he is briefed by James Comey, like, and I don't
Yeah.
think James Comey trusted Rod Rosenstein because he was appointed by Trump. So, like,
Right.
I guarantee that James Comey held back some information or spun it in a certain way or something. You know what I mean? But
Well, I mean, it's like with
was based on that. So it's like he was not given the keys of the kingdom right away.
Yeah, like Nick, it's like with everything. They've been withholding exculpatory information from
Right.
every single aspect of everything in this. So, I mean, that FBI was just like, oh, we're not going to give them the exculpatory. The Mueller report doesn't really give too much exculpatory on a lot of it. I mean, obviously for Papadopoulos, Page, and all those other people, exculpatory information was withheld from, it seems like, everybody. So they didn't give it to Rosenstein, that's for sure.
Right.
I have a
And he even
question that
said, like,
nobody's.
I was trying to figure it out.
I have a
Yeah.
question I don't think anybody's asked yet.
That.
How did Crossfire Hurricane was an open investigation? It's got a freaking name, right?
Yeah.
How was that case closed? Because here's the reason why I'm asking this question. The last FISA that Rod signed was the fourth and final FISA. The reason why I think he signed it as a witness and not as a criminal is because that closed the investigation. Hear me out just for a second here. When they got into the DOJ and they started the Mueller report, if you look at the actual the order, the May 17th order, it says we're just going to continue Operation Hurricane. Comey's. They didn't say Operation Hurricane. It says we're going to continue Comey's investigation. So when Mueller first came on, he took over Operation Crossfire Hurricane.
Right.
And then up.
But I mean, there had to have been a crime that they said, because that was a counterintelligence investigation. But yeah, go.
Exactly.
So up until the fourth FISA, right? That's an open. It's an open investigation. It's an operation, right? He signs that final FISA. At what point do they say, okay, this case is closed, Carter Page is clean? Right. Like how did the case end? Like how did they say, well, we ain't got nothing, it's over?
Well, I think Rosenstein probably got some more information and figured it out.
Yeah, like Fool was saying, so it was a counterintelligence investigation to start with. Special counsel regulations say you are for criminal investigations.
There must be a crime, yeah.
That's what a special counsel. That's what the regulations say. It's for a criminal investigation, not a counterintelligence investigation. So, for him to assign Mueller a counterintelligence investigation is against the regulations in the first place. So, unless they did some paperwork or did some transition to, convert it to a criminal thing, I mean, maybe they did.
Well, I mean, the obstruction is the crime. So they say like anything that came because of this Russian investigation that came from that, which Rosenstein didn't put any detail on it, but I guess the obstruction would have came from that crime. Or what I was thinking that after, I mean, Crossfire Hurricane was started, no crime. Then after that, they start saying that they got the FISA warrants on Carter Page, which you could say that was a crime, that he was acting, or all these people were acting as foreign agents or whatever.
Yeah. So they might have brought it into the criminal realm at some point, But the fact that we don't know that right now is crazy. It's like we don't even know what the investigation was,
what the scope is.
We don't know the scope of any of this, and that's just insane,
Which is the craziest part about reading the Mueller report is like, all right, the first thing I'm searching for is the scope. It's not even in there. No. So I mean, like, which comes to what Barr says is the entire origins of this entire thing is under investigation, which is why the scope memo still hasn't been released yet. Because I mean, in the scope memo, it has to be the electronic communication was. The first thing was that Comey says that it was started on four campaign members in the Trump administration: Papadopoulos, Page, Manafort, and Flynn. So I mean, their names, like, you can see what's unredacted in the scope memo, and Manafort's part of that is in there. I mean, those four guys are in it definitely because it's just more of a continuation of Crossfire Hurricane, but also there's probably the obstruction has to be in there as well. And then you read in the Mueller report that they added even more. They went into Roger Stone, another memo to broaden the scope and whatnot. But just because it's not declassified yet tells me that there's some criminality, and all of the electronic communication and this thing is based off of the dossier. There isn't any other what is the crime? Like they would have to say that there was some type of evidence of a conspiracy or something if they're looking at people in the Trump campaign, or why the hell else are they actually investigating this? So there has to be elements of the dossier in that, which Nunes says and other people say that. So I mean, that's why it's under investigation. That's why the scope memo hasn't been released yet, is because it's all under investigation.
Yeah, I was hoping that maybe it's part of the Mueller report. Maybe it'd be in there. But yeah, no, that's a really good point. That might be why it's not in there. You know.
Well, the 14 other investigations is, listen, the redactions about those 14 investigations were small, but the actual investigations might be pretty big. So what was not in what was behind those redacted lines weren't just 5 or 6 black redacted lines. There's files and files behind those little black redacted lines because there's 14 investigations going on. So there's a lot, like that Mueller report, including the 14 investigations redacted, whatever. It's humongous. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
Something I don't think anybody ever really talks about that much about the Obama thing is, like I tell you, I don't like do details, but like, what was in it for Obama? Like, Hillary didn't do this herself; she wasn't in the government.
Yeah.
But she had the help of Obama's DOJ, and the only thing I can cut, like the root cause of this whole thing, is Obama was trying to protect his legacy by keeping a Republican out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, and just everything else. I mean, there hasn't been like basically a free sort of president that wasn't conflicted or somehow had some type of I don't know, just terrible information hanging over his head until Trump. So I mean, it could be even going back before what Obama knew about what Bush did or whatever. Or I mean, it's all probably there's sort of like an under the table deal there, and it's all coming out now, or it's probably all going to come. I mean, that's what they were trying to protect. They weren't trying to protect They weren't trying to protect anything else besides the legacy. Like, why would they do? Why the cover up would be way bigger than the crime, which isn't what happened.
Yeah, and I think that's a big.
The crime's got to be bigger.
He was already deep in like for the Iran deal, you know, like he was spying on U.S. persons as part of the Iran deal, like political opponents of that deal. You know, Congress members were being spied on, and so it's like he was already in deep with all this stuff, and so it wasn't like oh, let's try this new thing. It was like let's continue to do the status quo, you know, that we've been doing for a while now.
Did you see that Cruz? Did you see that Cruz said like kind of on the side said something to Barr about saying, "Hey,
totally
look at me too."
Because they were the two like quote unquote radical candidates that the establishment didn't like was Cruz. In fact, Cruz got the worst like press at the beginning because everyone thought that he was the one that actually had a shot at the nomination. So if you go back and look at the articles, there was a ton of like nasty stuff about Cruz. And then
because he was the guy all the GOP senators hated.
Yeah, and in January is when it kind of switched to like, oh shit, like Trump is actually going to win. So then they switched over. But yeah.
The second Trump got the nomination, I swear the Beltway was to just collectively shit their pants.
Yeah.
But then they ramped it up, and they thought there was no way they were going to lose. She was never going to lose.
Right.
I mean, I feel like the entire all this spying was just. The main reason, I mean, besides trying to entrap Trump, the main reason was they're scared shitless that they would actually find the 30,000 emails. Oh, yeah. Like there had to be damaging information in that because they were scared. I think that's the main reason why they did it, because if somebody came up with those 33K emails, it would end her presidency or end her chance. So that's why they're sending spies in, just to figure out like, hey, does anybody actually have these things? And to entrapment and start this entire other narrative of that Trump was colluding. But I mean, that's my opinion.
I think the FBI, like that was like one of the main reasons for the FBI investigation was to troll the dark web to try to find them and to see try to suss out are they going to show up or not, you know? And that people don't really realize that was part of the investigation. Like we have the 302s and all that kind of stuff. That's something that they did, you know? And
I mean, they didn't. Yeah. They didn't send in Mifsud to just be like, hey, or Downer and Turk and all these other people, Greenberg, to be like, hey, do you guys have the emails or not? Like, it's not. They were looking for if they had them or not.
Yeah,
I assume that Trump knows everything. I've assumed a lot of things, and I'm probably wrong, but I assume right now that Trump knows like everything, and I assume that he knew almost everything on November 10th, 2016. I mean, I'm out there on this one, but I really think that. To assume that he had no help on the inside is kind of goofy. Like if you think about it, there must have been some good people in Washington D.C. in wherever that helped him. All right. So when he got elected, there must have been someone that says, "Hey, boss, they've been gunning for you for like the past 6 months." And
it was before that, I guarantee.
Yeah, he knew about all this. He knew he was being spied on all the time. I think.
Yeah. Well,
My
because
my
he hires ex FBI guys. You know, that's like part of his big part of his security team. Peter Strzok even mentions it. He mentions that Trump's got a ton of ex FBI guys on his team, and so you know, like they know the deal. It's not like he's new to this. You
He
know.
knows so much.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he always says, "We'll see, we'll see." Like he
my,
probably plays dumb better than anybody on this planet because he knows everything right now. He just acts like he doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
My opinion.
my thoughts were that, like, remember that the huge controversy that, like, oh, Trump doesn't have any foreign policy advisors or
Yeah.
whatever. I
Yeah.
think all those, like, Carter Page and Papadopoulos were fronts. I think he actually had white hats in the government at that time actually informing him. I don't think he really cared about the foreign policy team on his. That's why it's kind of ridiculous because
Oh yeah.
everybody's just like, oh, these were his advisors, Carter Page and George
Yeah. Right.
Papadopoulos. They just put them on there for faces. Like, Flynn had his own contacts in the government probably at that time where they got all the foreign policy. Like, he didn't need actual real foreign policy people.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
he just, like, hired these other guys.
If you look at the people that were his team or whatever, they met him like once and
Yeah,
never corresponded with like they did like nothing. They did nothing, you know,
yeah,
actual like on the campaign. He definitely trusted Flynn. I bet you he was talking to Flynn like every single day. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. Like, I'm
Like
sure, like, Flynn and was his anchor into his community, whether he
yeah.
was getting his actual foreign policy advice.
And there was a general I don't remember his name now, but there's another general in there that attended like one of his debate prep sessions, and I feel like that's kind of a sign that okay, this guy is trusted. You know, like he's in there with the preparation. So he has very specific people that are not technically on the campaign, but he trusts them, you know, very very closely, and so
Hey, you know whose name is kind of hidden? Like what? Like Mike Rogers. He was like like he's a
yeah.
hero. Like we used to talk about him as being a hero all of 2017, but you don't hear Mike Rogers' name that much anymore. I wonder why. Like he's a real
Well,
hero.
yeah, I mean, he doesn't really talk much. You know what I mean? He's a private citizen now,
Didn't he
and
uncover the 302s? Wasn't he the one that said, "Hey, listen, Yates unmasking 302s"? Wasn't he like the guy that exposed the 302s?
yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
And so, you know, it's like it'd be great if he like starts kind of like giving the public more information, you know. But I mean, at this point, he's just kind of quiet. You know, I think he's done like a interview once. You
I
know.
saw him on a symposium with like him, John P. Carlin, and like someone else, like all like Clapper, all on the same stage. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. Well, yeah. He was. I mean, he was on the inside. You know, he was dealing with these people like week to week. So it's like, it's not like he was a detached observer and then you know swooped in, and it was like he was in this crew, and I think maybe you know in the end said what we're doing is wrong, and so he like raised the flag. You know.
I think a lot of people ditched out, like another one of my angles, John P. Carlin. Like I don't
Yeah.
know what his deal. Like I think he's a good guy who ditched out. I think he's like
Yeah.
I'm out of this.
Yeah.
He left right
And,
before the first. He left a week, like a couple weeks before, maybe a couple days before the first FISA was signed. I think
yeah.
he announced his retirement on September 26th, and he left on like the 16th, and the first FISA was signed on the 21st of October, something like
Yeah.
that.
Looks like fool. You dropped out. I don't see your face on the screen anymore.
Do I know him from Twitter?
I don't know. I mean, me
Is
and
that his
fool.
name on Twitter? Fool something?
It's a fool underscore Nelson.
No,
But
would have
we
recognized
connected
that.
maybe like 3 months ago or something like that,
Oh.
around like Christmas time or something. And anyway, yeah, he's a great contact. Um, anyway, so I'll try to get you in here if you try to log on again, fool. But yeah. Anyway, so you feel like 2020 is in the bag, Mike?
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. It's like that. There's no. I mean, just the economy alone is
Yeah,
just.
he's got a
It's like,
record.
listen,
So
what
you
we're
just
told
know that.
is nothing. Like, I really assume that everything that I see is just not true, and I just go by like what actually happens, and like what happened in 2016 is probably going to happen again. So none of these polls, like my whole thing with polls are, I believe that polls are rigged to sway public opinion.
Uh-huh.
That's why, like the polls in 2016, they just keep saying she'll win. People will vote for her. I mean, but they're obviously they were wrong. So were they wrong because
Whoa.
they just happened to talk to the wrong people? No, they were made up. That's why they were wrong.
Yeah.
Like nobody ever asks. It's like, so why were the polls wrong? well, everybody lied to the polls. No, they just talked to the wrong people and skewed the numbers. So they weren't accurate polls. They're never going to be accurate polls.
I think there was a lot of people who were scared to say that they supported Trump, and so told the pollsters one thing, and then they actually voted a different way, the kind of shy Trump voter or whatever. But what do you think about 2020, fool?
About who's gonna win or what?
You think it's like a shoe-in?
Trump's gonna win. It's gonna be okay. So I just can't wait till the actual debates, because Trump, like in 2016, was like just like a wild card. Who knew? Like most people are just like, well, I just can't have like Hillary. Like Trump might have some like what is he just talking bullshit? But I mean, now it's just like he has all this stuff to actually, like, he can just put up like a just like a poster and be like, this is my accomplishments. Like, this is promises made, promises kept, and just go through it. Like it'll be like almost impossible to run against, unless what I fear is like they'll just make up something else. Like that they'll just come out with a complete fabrication of some type of that Trump did something, like, and there won't be any evidence for it, but people like the mainstream media will just roll with it. But I mean, I don't think that can actually happen anymore, because it'll just be discounted and I don't think I think people have been beat down by the mainstream media. They won't believe it anymore. But if nothing, I mean, if it were to be today and nothing changes, like, and there was debates, like they started without people getting locked up for Spygate, Trump would win easily. And now I feel like that he's going to be exonerated even more. That it's over, basically.
Yeah. You just brought up something great about the debates.
And there's so much potential too. Like North Korea, like China trade deals, all this other stuff, like peace with Russia. Like there's so much stuff that could happen in that time frame. I don't see too much of negative in the horizon. They like the relationships between like our president and other presidents is pretty good, especially that like our enemies compared to that. So I see like more like sort of peace and prosperity coming, like in this interim between this time and the election. I think I don't think there's going to be any big fall off. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in Venezuela, but I don't think it's going to be bad.
Yeah,
I see a lot of positivity coming in this post Mueller report era, and I think there's going to be a lot of. I'm optimistic as hell. That's all I have to say.
I mean, so yeah, his tweet to Biden was like, "I'll see you at the starting gate." You know what I mean? So he's like got all this time to like do great stuff, and then the Democrats tear themselves apart, and then he sees them there, and it's got something to run on. What were we gonna say, Mike?
The thing about the debates that Fool just said is like, so he's not going to debate this time, but he's going to be tweeting after every one of their debates, hammering them. So this is just going to be so incredibly entertaining, because we're all just going to watch, and we're all just going to commentate on how idiotic these Dems look on stage, and he's just going to be tweeting. Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be glorious.
Well, I'm talking about the presidential. Like, I mean, he can just sit there, he can just sit there, just like bring a poster and be like, what question do you honestly have for me? Like right now, like what, like I've addressed like pretty much everything. Like what, like usually in these type of things, like there's like the first term like didn't go so well, but it's different this time. Like he can like these
more ratings than Obama had right now.
Yeah,
and so it's
and done so much more.
Yeah, it's like
take out statistically now because I looked into this. Statistically, regardless of what the first term is like, it's kind of pretty hard to get not a second term. Like what, George Bush?
Well,
I mean, go back before George W. and like everybody gets reelected.
Unless there's like a huge scandal,
Yeah.
Like George,
or like Perot runs or whatever.
Yeah, his like read my lips, no new taxes or whatever. Then everyone got really pissed off about it, and it's like.
But I mean, that was because Perot ran too, as well. Yeah. Like, I mean, there's like a third party candidate that scooped up a bunch of votes as well.
My parents actually voted for Ross Perot.
I mean, I don't have any.
But, yeah,
that's fine with me for sure.
Yeah, that's when I first started voting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 31, so I've only voted a few times.
I voted everybody out.
I didn't vote last time, so like you guys can give me shit. But I mean, we still did.
I know.
I'm not afraid. I
was done
first. I thought it was a bad idea to have a reality star for president, but it's like
I liked everything you were saying. I'm just like it can't be real. Like.
Yeah.
And then like I wasn't registered in Texas, and I'm like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Whatever. My voting record is a little interesting. So I'm not like these are things well, I'm not on Twitter anymore, and anybody's here that's going to hear this. Like, I'm not Christian. It's fine. I love Christian values and everything, but I'm not like your typical conservative. Like, I voted
Like,
Bush.
I'm a
I
classical
voted
liberal,
Bush,
and I'm not.
Clinton. I voted Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, and on the off years, I voted for Rand Paul and Ron Paul. So every time I voted, I just voted the last guy out. I'm like, I'll just try anything but you. So I just tried, because I've always thought it's two wings, same bird. Until Trump has proven it really is two wings, same bird. They're all the same. To me, the GOP right now is just almost not as bad as the Democrats, but most of the GOP
I
I don't
feel
like.
like Trump gave him some balls to actually like be like, hey, you don't have to be a freaking poster child. You don't have to be like I don't just clean cut whatever. Like have some like you see like Graham kind of activated. I'm like, yeah, be like that. But you don't have to be like Trump's like the worst of you guys. So like as long as you're better than that, like just be slightly a little bit like not worse. I'm just saying like he's obviously has like more skeletons in his closet and he's kind of an asshole for sure.
Well, yeah,
But like as long as you're like a little bit better than him, you guys are fine. Freaking fight. That's all you need to do is just fight.
yeah. I mean, like kids, like when they're like little, they're like, okay, I want to be president, and then that brings to mind a lot of things. Like, okay, so I can't do anything that's controversial. I can't do. There's like a path, like
Yeah, like
that's
me,
what
like I'm like I can't run for anything right now. Like
right.
everybody knows all the shit I did. Like
But with Trump's like it's like it doesn't matter. Just be like a good or do good things, do incredible things, and then people will see that and they'll respect that. And you don't have to be this choir boy or pretend like you're a choir boy and actually be hypocritical in that. You can just be authentic, and then people will
you
respond.
can be a human being. That's like we have the
That's why
first
people
human
hate him
being
the
in
most.
office.
Yeah,
That's why people hate him. They hate him the most because they can't be like him. Nobody, listen, even between like people that are real, we still hide shit. But like he is so authentic, it just drives people nuts because they can't be authentic. They have to be this sheep. They have to like what
yeah.
everybody else likes.
Or
Yeah,
like
and everybody realizes it now because you look at him and you're like, that's a real human being. You look at all the other candidates. Like I knew this before, but like people now have to be like, these people are fake. Like all this crap they're saying. Like every Democratic Party candidate, like there's not a real one. Maybe Tulsi,
yeah,
but all of them are just like, oh, like I'm like, look at Biden, like it's a joke. Like people should be able to recognize inauthentic or what's the word?
yeah, this
Unauthentic
whatever. But it's
Yeah.
like
people.
when Obama goes in front of a black audience, he's like, "What up, y'all?" He's like acting all black. Or then when Hillary goes to the South, she's got like her Southern drawl or whatever. Like,
Southern accent, yeah.
like wherever he goes, he's got his like red tie, he's got his like business suit on, and that's him.
It's him.
People respect that.
He's like created some sort of litmus test because now everything is going to be gauged against him
No,
because everybody knows what a real person looks like now. So now you have to always compare what you're doing to what a real person does.
right. Yeah.
That's
All right, I'm
what's
going to go. I
amazing.
got to get something to eat, man. Listen,
All right.
every time
I
your
might
thing
sign
goes
off
off,
too.
I'm
I gotta
jumping
go to a
on.
party as well.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, Nick, this was fun. This is a good idea.
yeah, cool. Yeah, so I can connect with you on Twitter, fool. But Mike, we got to figure out some way to get in contact. I don't know how that will
We'll
work.
figure something out.
Yeah, we'll figure
I
something.
can't do like I went on Gab for like a day. I'm like, oh my god, this is worse.
There's nothing over there.
Yeah.
Gab is horrible.
It's
Like,
bad.
I do
Yeah,
like
it's just
opposing
an echo
opinions. Like I
chamber,
don't want to sit
probably.
in a room with everybody that agrees with me. That's boring.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
all right. Well, we found
All right.
each other today, so it's gonna happen again.
All right, Mike, it was nice meeting you.
Hey, fools, nice.
I've seen
Do
this
you have
one
a real
before.
name, or you're not allowed to say it?
I mean, my real name's Jimmy. Like it,
All right,
yeah,
Jamie. It's
Jimmy
nice to
Nelson.
meet
Yeah,
you. Nice to meet you. Nick,
yeah, you
finally
too.
nice to meet you.
All right. Yeah. I'll see you later, guys.
All right, bye.
All right, see you, Nick. It was fun.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was cool. I think I'm gonna log off as well. Oops. All right. Well, there you go. I think I'm gonna log off, guys. All right. Till next time. Bye.